the test. There are going to be 7 questions. They're all specific to the joint that you happen to choose. By chance, you will pick one joint. Okay, and there'll be 7 things on that piece of paper. 5 of them will be mostly palpation, but maybe 1 inspection or 1 RON finding, possibly. And it will be just static palpation unless I've said otherwise. For instance, let's see, where do you need the dynamic? You need to be able to wiggle the lunate around. Okay, so otherwise it would be, if it's a foot, let's have you lie back, please. Can you guys see okay? Not really. Let's go down here towards the middle.
No, you can't.
Let me pass this around.
Wasn't a knife or anything.
I would have liked to have seen that.
Watch yourself.
Okay, so if you get the foot, you might have to do a visualization. I might say, look at his calcanei standing up and describe them for me. So you'd have to say, well, they're sticking up straight, they're everted, or they're inverted. Or, you know, the right one is everted, the left one's inverted, you know, whatever. So that's a possibility. But chances are, you'll have to palpate some things. And so I might ask, you know, to start off easy, lateral malleolus, okay? So you need to know this is the lateral side, okay? That's the medial side. And then when we go through the foot in the lab, I went through the big bumpy things. So on the lateral side of the foot, we have one big bumpy thing, which is the styloid of the 5th metatarsal. Then we have the MTPs in the front and palpate across the medial side. Go up the medial side, we got the navicular tubercle, that's a big bumpy thing, and then the medial malleolus. Okay, so that's, when you're looking at any part, it's going to be basically bones that stick out, or, you know, sometimes it's a little bit more challenging. In the shoulder, we felt the coracoid process, but everybody should be able to feel that. And then I might ask soft tissues. So can you keep your heel on the table and pick your foot up? I'm sorry. Pick your toes up. Pick your toes up. Go like this. Okay. There's a big fat tendon that crosses over the front here. What's that called? Tibialis anterior. Okay, what about back here, this big thing? Achilles tendon. So, you know, that, I'm not going to be asking trivia questions. So you're not going to have to find the extensor digitorum brevis, okay? Because I really didn't emphasize that. What else? We have holes. So we got things that stick out, and we got recessions, holes, buccas, concavities. So on this side, we got the sinus tarsi, okay? And what is in the sinus tarsi? The interosseous ligament deep in there. But more relevant, we got a couple ligaments over here on the lateral side, right? So what's the ligament that runs straight up and down from the fibula to the calcaneus? Calcaneofibular ligament. And then the other one, clinically important, it runs from the fibula forward to the talar neck. Anterior talofibular, okay? So you need to know those. And then what about on the medial side, what do we got? Deltoid ligament. Okay, so what about orthopedic tests for the foot? Well, we only have 3, really. Well, we have more than that, but what's on there? The tuck test. It's really a motion palpation test. Find the anterolateral dome. That's another little bump here. And then dorsiflex, see if it tucks. If it doesn't tuck, what does it mean? Maybe we have an anterior talus. Okay. And then we got orthopedic tests. So the orthopedic tests for the ankle are for the ligaments, primarily the calcaneofibular and anterior talofibular. We could also test the deltoid. So for the calcaneofibular and some parts of the deltoid, we could do the talar tilt test. So you stabilize the foot. I would be down at the end of the table, but for given our circumstances, I'm going to do it this way. I'm going to stabilize the tibia and fibula and try to wiggle the talus on them. And whenever I do an orthopedic test for a ligament, what are my 2 possible findings? I'm not asking him, just if it hurt, I'm assuming his eyes would open. Okay, so I'm inverting, and that would check what? Calcaneofibular primarily, and if I everted, then parts of the deltoid that run up and down. Okay, and that's one test called the talar tilt test, valgus varus stress test, other names. And then we have a ligament that runs like this, the anterior talofibular ligament. And how would I test for that? I would pull the talus forward to push back on the fibula, but that's kind of hard to do. I can't grab the talus. So I'm going to grab the calcaneus behind. I'm going to pull forward. I'm going to push back on the tibia and fibula, and I'm going to ask them if it hurts. Does that hurt? That hurt? Okay. And what might the other finding be? Okay. An altered end feel. Okay, for any ligament test. Okay, and actually we've had a couple positives in the lab. People have loose anterior talofibular ligaments, completely torn, so that at the end feel.
What's that one called?
The anterior drawer test of the ankle. But instead of pulling the talus forward, it's easier just to stabilize. You pull on the calcaneus, that hooks the talus, then you push back on the tibia and fibula. Okay, and one last one, which is the functional hallux limitus test, I believe. So to do that test, we would rule out hallux rigidus, non-weight bearing. I will dorsiflex the big toe, that works. This one works. And it's cool, by the way, when you dorsiflex the big toe, what should happen is that you see there's more arch there. That's a Spanish windlass mechanism. But it doesn't really count now because it's not weight bearing. What I really want to know is when he's bearing weight, does it work? So I know you're all relaxed. But please stand up. On the table. Okay, so the functional hallux limitus test, I would be in front of him. Look straight ahead, please. And I'm going to lift his big toe, and I'm going to see if I can get the arch to come up. And his doesn't do it that much on that side. What else should it happen? The arch should come up because the first metatarsal is plantar flexing, and I should see external rotation of the leg. His is pretty non-functional on both sides. So, and you can see he's got pronated feet. Okay, lie your back again, please. Questions on the ankle, foot? Is that the only things that are listed on the?
Do you want this?
No, I want you to tell me. I want you to be my assistant. Is that okay?
Yeah, we're good. So you're basically lateral squeeze.
Lateral squeeze. Oh my God. Okay. I knew there was something. If you have a neuroma between the metatarsal bones, how can you possibly provoke that neuroma?
Squeeze the feet.
Squeeze. So you squeeze the metatarsals together, and a positive finding would be a lancinating pain shooting into the toes, typically. Did that hurt? That's okay. All right. So, on to the knee.
Did you do talar tilt?
Talar tilt is valgus varus loading. Okay. Stabilize tib fibula and then move the talus and see if it hurts or it moves too much. And by the way, never compare, when you're comparing joint motion, when you get into motion palpation, don't compare inversion to eversion. It's not fair. Compare inversion on one foot to inversion on the other foot and vice versa. Because it always feels more restricted into eversion because we got great big strong ligaments preventing eversion. Or the other way of looking at it, every time you take a step, what does your calcaneus do? It everts. So are we going to have a big strong hypertrophy deltoid ligament? Yes, because it gets all the reps. How often do you invert when you land? Hopefully never, okay, because that's an inversion spring. So the deltoid is a really big, strong ligament. The interosseous ligament is a big, strong ligament. So it's a different feel when you evert versus inverted. Okay, let's go to the knee. Can we pull this up, please? Is it okay? Okay, so when we're looking at the knee, we have some big bony things sticking out. One is the patella. You should be able to find that. You should be able to find the tibial tubercle, find the lateral tubercle, find the fibular head, and then the soft tissues from your drawing. You should know that the IT band passes here into the lateral tubercle. The lateral collateral ligament is back here, attaching to the fibula. And on the medial aspect, we got a big flat ligament called the tibial collateral and medial collateral ligament. And then we have the joint line. So if you get the knee, you're gonna have to feel the joint line one way or the other. So practice doing that. How do you find the joint line? Find the front, find the big old condyles, palpate down to the tibial plateau, and then work your way around. Okay, so what about soft tissues? Other soft tissues here besides the ligaments? We do have the quadriceps. That would be a tough one. Palpate the quadriceps. Palpate the area of the, how about the VMO? I should ask that, since nobody seemed to be able to figure that out. So the oblique fibers of the vastus that run this way, that's the VMO. Usually it's about an inch up and an inch medial to the top of the kneecap. Okay. Other soft tissues, the patellar tendon. What am I leaving out? Hamstrings. So lateral hamstring, biceps femoris. Right, should be able to find that IT band. And on the medial side, what group do we have? Paz-Atzerine group. So if I'm in a foul mood, I might ask you to name those. But, you know, I don't think so. Okay, so medial hamstrings. And then we got the orthopedic tests. So we have posture stuff too, right? So what postural phenomenon occurs there when you look at somebody from the front? Q angle, right? Or we could look for valgus or varus deviation of the tibia, right? So you might have to do something like that. Those are 3 points each, by the way, with palpation stuff. Or palpation visualization. Maybe I'll say, assess your patient's active knee extension. Can you straighten your leg out for me? Okay, and relax it. That looks normal to me. You know, you extend it to about 180. 3 points. Get a range of motion. Okay. Let's go to the orthopedic tests. So I have 3 groups of tests. One is for patellofemoral pain syndrome and related lesions. So first thing you would do on a patient like that is see if they're apprehensive about moving their patella around. So if I take the patella and I push it laterally in this case, you okay? Okay, so he's got some crunchies, but he's not showing apprehension. He would kick me with the other leg, you know. Stop! I forgot to tell you my history. I just took my pillow. Stop! Apprehension. Okay, and then we have patellofemoral grinding test. So to do that, I would put my hand under the knee. Does that feel okay? I'm going to get my other hand, thumb web, like this, and I'm going to say, please pick your foot up off the table. Pick your foot off the table, please. Please pick your foot up off the table. Okay, and relax. Relax it, okay. Okay, keep your knee on my hand and pick your foot up off the table. Straighten your leg out. Okay, and relax. This exam is going to take a long time. Okay. And what else do we have in that category? I think Q angle. So for patellofemoral pain syndrome, there are a lot of other things you should do. Ober's test, by the way, right, for patellofemoral pain. As if they have a tight IT band, that can be pulling the patella laterally. So I know that's the hip. But hey, everything's connected. You guys have learned that in chiropractic college, right? So the other 2 categories for the knee are meniscus and ligament. So let's do ligament first. Let's do the collaterals, they're easy. So I'm going to stabilize his ankle, and then I'm going to unlock his knee a little bit, and then I'm going to wiggle, see what it feels like. Does that hurt? Okay, so I'm feeling good joint play with springy end feel, and it doesn't hurt. Oh, I skipped one thing.
Can you say the names of the tests?
Pardon me?
Say the names of the tests
Yes,
that you're doing?
valgus and varus stress test. Right, but I skipped something. What is it called when I fully extend the knee? What happens, or I should say, what happens to the knee when I fully extend it? Screw-on mechanism, it locks, okay? So when the knee is locked like this, all the ligaments are engaged, so if I did the valgus and varus stress test now, I shouldn't feel much, should be pretty stiff. So in order to test the collateral ligaments, I need to unlock it, just flex it a little bit, and then I can do valgus and varus loading to test the collaterals. Okay, what about the cruciates? Anterior drawer and posterior drawer, and then the Lockmans. Now, before I do those, though, I like to do the sag test, look for the sag sign. So I would just leave them like this for a minute, or if I was in a hurry, I would say, contract your hamstrings for me, please, okay, and then relax. And if he had a torn PC